All right, there we go. Here we are. We're live. Hello, gentlemen. How you doing?
GM, what's up? Dennis, what's up, Bourgeois?
GM, GM.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good, 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 good. So let's start. So happy to be here today with Mofis, CEO from Sogni, and Dennis, our community leader on the Nosana side. So, guys, quickly, Mofis, I see it's a little bit dark on your side. Where you in Singapore?
Yes, I'm in my home office here, and the funny thing is I was a week ago in Dubai, hanging out with Bourgeois. So, yeah, it's good to see you again. So in so short time.
Yes, yes, yes. That's actually funny because Mofis and I we see each other every time in different countries. So I think now it's like what 6, 7. I don't we don't even count anymore, but it's always
Yeah,
a pleasure. And Dennis, where are you?
yeah, I'm
In
I'm in, I'm
Croatia.
back in Singapore. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dennis.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm in Croatia right now, so it's just about noon. It's perfect for lunchtime, so it's gonna be just after this call.
Okay, okay, okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. So hi everyone. Super happy to be here with these two gentlemen. So just so you know, today we're gonna go for a live session. The goal of it is obviously to discuss Sogni, Nosana, or collaboration, how it happened, and everything like that. But also to have just a conversation that is uplifting, inspiring for the community as well, especially during this time. Very happy to have us Mofis here because Mofis has a lot of interesting takes. He has a beautiful journey as well, and I think that for you guys, the one that like building in the trenches as well, or the one that are just curious, I think that can be very insightful. So super happy to kick these things. So maybe I can ask you, Mofis, to quickly introduce you. How would you define you, and how would you present you, like to the community and to the public today?
Sweet. Yeah. So I'm Malvis Ledford. I also go by Mal. And if I can really encapsulate myself in one sentence, is that I'm a builder and I'm a lifelong learner.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's very poetic. That's very poetic. Okay, 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 okay. And today, I mean, you're the CEO of Sogni, and you told us that Sogni means dream in Italian. But I want to know,
Yeah.
like, why you came up with this name, why does it represent for you, and how does, like, how come that you want to be a founder? Because you didn't start as a founder.
Yeah. So my background, like I said, is just nonstop learning, and people generally know me as a former CTO at Core Market Cap. That was from 2017 to 2020. But before that, I was doing a lot of ed tech startups in San Francisco Bay Area, and I actually have a BA in art, and I was a CTO of a number of companies just because I realized that I'm a terrible designer, but I'm a pretty good programmer, and I just started growing from there. With Sogni, the name is Italian for the word dreams. And what happened was about 2 years ago, everyone saw what I call this kind of AI human renaissance happen. Devs, designers, project managers, marketers, salespeople, they're all using LLMs to advance themselves, to do all kinds of stuff for productivity. But we saw that everyone was tied to the same two or three monolithic tech giants, where they may be training on your data. They are restricting you every day of what you can do, and they're building huge databases of who you are. Not only this, but you're paying 20 or 30 or sometimes $60 a month, and the minute you stop paying, despite you funding all that innovation, you lose access to it all. So we saw that open source models were ready. There's thousands of them out there on Hugging Face and GitHub. They're just not accessible to the masses. And so the V1 of Sogni was a native Mac app that looked like Photoshop. It worked like Midjourney and allowed you to download open source models with one click and use them on your computer, even with no internet. And it was wild. It was built by Alejandro. He was head of iOS at CoinMarketCap back in the day. That's how we became friends. And when he showed that to me, I saw that there's so much huge potential here, but rendering with just my MacBook, it's like 1 minute per image. It's like the same as like Midjourney or something, which is cool. But what if I can wire my Macs to your Macs and we can render together? And that was the start of our DeepIn network and our whole journey after.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I've heard the story, and every time I'm like, okay, that's a beautiful story. Not only because you guys build a beautiful product, but also because you managed to leverage your past experience and the one of like Alejandro and your brother as well, in order to share that vision and to build that product. So I think that's pretty nice. Now you have a team. How many people are in your team right now?
We have a team of 14 plus one intern. So yeah, we've grown quite substantially from 2 years ago. We launched our token TGE in July, so it's only been like 4 months and 3 weeks, which is pretty nuts. Like sometimes I think we're working too slowly, but I also look back about how much we've done. We're up to 85,000 registered users, 950 plus GPUs, a lot of them powered by Nosana, which is pretty awesome. And man, it's so awesome to keep building, and we're building on the backs of open source. We give back a lot back to open source, and even revenue 1% back to the model creators that just open source the models. They expected nothing, but we give them something.
Yeah. Actually, those are good KPIs and good accomplishments. I'm always curious to know why you're a big open source soldier, Morpheus, because I know that you stand and you will die for it, and that's your
Yeah.
philosophy. But why?
I
Do you think
find that, yeah, so much, whether you're using closed source stuff or using open source stuff, so much of it is built on open source. People who just wanted better for the world and not to profit off of everything. And I find that, these AI models like DeepSeek R1 really changed my worldview. When that was released a couple months ago, it was head to head with ChatGPT 4 and it was free. It essentially, in my eyes, cut OpenAI's valuation in half because models are not like some trade secret proprietary thing, especially when they're getting open sourced every day. Kimi K2 Thinking just launched like 2 weeks ago, and that is on the same level as ChatGPT 5, which is the golden standard now, a free model. You know what I mean? And it's so cool that people are giving this stuff away. And I used to think ChatGPT wrappers and Gemini wrappers were not worth anything, but now that you can run your own stuff, like it has so much value. And so we build on open source and we give back a lot to open source. And even with like Bitcoin, decentralizing money and value, like I was a big believer of that since 2016. I even have a tattoo here that's the Genesis block of Bitcoin right here. And I find when you just follow your own passions, like good things happen. And when you not try to nickel and dime people come and use your product. Our goal is to be a base layer of the internet for GPUs, starting with creative AI, because that's where it's the most fun. And everyone's targeting large language models. Not a lot of people are doing like video and image gen stuff. So that's where we like to be.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's a lot of gems that you're dropping over here. I hope it's very clear for the people, because often people they're asking, what are you doing, guys? What is open source? Why you are open source believers, and so on and so on, and what are like the pros of open source? But it's also important to, for instance, maybe the cons of open source, because at the opposite of open source, you have the closed source, and obviously closed source, they have more money, more resources, and so on. And it's like a little bit like David against Goliath, if I can say that.
Exactly.
So, yeah. What are the cons that you have faced during you as a founder by being a big open source advocate, and by choosing the road?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the issues with open source is what we're trying to fix by being this middle layer. Like the two biggest problems with open source is it's hard to understand and use. A lot of it's just made for programmers. Like I can give you Kimi K2, the model, but how do I run this thing? How do I have the GPUs? And then secondly, to use these open source models, like I said, you generally need a big GPU to run them, right? And
Yeah.
so we tried to solve both those problems with the Sogni and Sogni SuperNet GPU layer by straddling on the unused compute power, the idle compute power of the world. Why do we have to raise millions of dollars and launch on Amazon and our own data centers here and there when we can just use the compute power of each other. And so people are using their gaming PCs for probably what 8 or 9 hours per day. 16 hours is sitting there, so you can double click, install our software, and start earning value there. But when we started this thing and it was just a baby concept and we had like 8 or 12 nodes, largely of the team, we had to meet a lot of people and we needed to bootstrap this network and become a super net of not just our network, but other networks. That's where we met Nosana. And Nosana has been giving us good, clean power since the very beginning, since before we launched. We ran testnet for 8 months, and for the longest time, they were the largest producers of GPUs on our network. Today, I'm going to guess it's like a 30%, 33%, but it has been such a great experience. And I would also add that we heard of Nosana, we were introduced to them, but we really got to know them through their GitHub, and everything is there. And to me, it's the DeepIn network that has the most on chain. Like everything they do as much as possible is on chain, and it's really cool. And that's the best part of combining DeepIn, with Web3 together. It's super exciting.
True. Thank you, Mofis. You already anticipated like a lot of my next questions, which is nice. Maybe Dennis, you want to share on the community side, because we Mofis and I, we speak a lot, and we now we even became friends. I can say that, like, right, Mofis? I don't
Yes,
cross
of
the line.
course. Good
Okay,
friends,
good.
good friends, brother.
We sung some song together, everything, and maybe Dennis, you want to share something from the community side, how our community embraces Sogni, but also like what are some questions maybe that can be tackled. Are you on mute?
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. My keyboard was clicking, so I didn't want to disturb you guys. Now it should be fine. Yeah, I do have a little bit of a question, but to give a little bit of my background, since I've been with Nosana for the past about 9 months now, so I wasn't here when the initial partnership started back in the day. I only joined afterwards. But from what I saw, from what I've seen from the Sogni community as well, that you keep it very active there. I see that you do render with me every week, which is like a community activity where people build their own images, and you have contests of this sort, which is wonderful. And we've been doing some of these things ourselves. I think actually in the past year we had a challenge during November, which is one of our events for community, that we asked our members to build something with Sogni, because you guys make it so easy to do the stable diffusion. I guess this is a question more about how your community feels right now. With everything going down, how do you tackle these? I would say downturns when things aren't looking the best. How is your community feeling? How do you keep them happy, and because you have a very big community?
Yeah, well, definitely we are in kind of a weird middle ground. Is the bull run stalled or what? Bitcoin has gone from 120,000 to 82,000, which is a pretty massive dip. What's great is like just being well capitalized and prepared, and just constantly building. Our token, and Nosana's doing pretty well too, has probably dipped less than Bitcoin and ETH, and that's always like a super good sign. But definitely, it's interesting to see like Web3 and DeepIn is as mainstream as it's ever been, and we're proving every day that this stuff. Our goal was to be the cheapest inference provider in the world for creative AI, and we all ended up also being the fastest. We can do six. It's all about parallel renders. We can do 16 images in under 5 seconds. We can do 32 images, 512, and so our biggest thing is marketing and getting the word out there. That's why it was super interesting to me, because I've been going to a lot of crypto conferences, a whole lot, pretty much all the crypto conferences, and we're having a really great time there running what we call Sogni Photo Booth. But last week I was in Dubai at Function One. We went to an AI conference, not a Web3 one or crypto one, and we ran out of brochures, we ran out of photo paper. We were completely mobbed, and so I do think both crypto and AI, are seeing a bit of a downturn, and people are talking about AI bubbles and different stuff. But this isn't like 2000. It's like petfoods.com, and did these things provide real value? The AI that we have these days, both the closed source and open source, is so providing so much value. And now with agents and other stuff happening, just yesterday, Flux 2 just launched and a bunch of other amazing image and video gen models, and they're constantly one-upping each other. For closed source, Google Gemini apparently, as of last week, just took the throne from ChatGPT and everyone else as number one. But next week, I don't know who it's going to be. But hopefully, I think the winners are going to be us and the open source ones, because we find, I used to say every 3 to 6 months, like the open source catches up, but now it's like weeks. It's a week's timeline. And as soon as that happens, we put them in our DeepIn network and provide that value back to the end user, which is pretty awesome.
No, I like that answer. That's a great one. Thank you for that. BJ, I'll give it back to you because I'm doing some technicalities in the background, and I feel like you have a better understanding of how the interview is going so far.
Good. Thanks, Mo. I have a quick question for you, actually, based on what to jump on what you're saying. Do you believe that we're like in an AI bubble? Because we had to talk a little bit internally with the team, and I would like to hear your take on this.
So I believe that we are in bubble territory. However, if you looked at the .com bubble, I saw some charts and graphs that we're like 5x higher than we were during those that bubble. So as long as you last through them, like I don't think that what is being produced in the closed and AI and the open source world is not having value. There's so much amazing value here. And I also think you don't have to run the smartest models. I don't have to pay top dollar to get the 10x Einstein. The 1x or the 3x Einstein model that I can run is good enough to do like so much. You know what I mean? And it keeps on just getting better. So even if there's an AI bubble and it bursts, I see so many AI companies and startups and builders launching like super successful products out of it. You know what I mean? I do worry about the amount of investment in the AI space, but I think on a smaller level, like we're gonna be okay, because like this stuff is just it's in fact, the scarier thing to me is that this stuff is so useful that it's going to take a lot of different jobs and different stuff. One person is able to do the work of 5 or 6, and so there's repercussions for societies about that. I'd like to think more like 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the future about like what will human beings do when the AI can do everything, when it's a post-scarcity world where we don't have to fight for dollars. Like what, as long as like the private corporations don't hoard all the AI and we become enslaved to it. Those are the bigger questions that I have.
Yeah, do you remember like we had this dinner after Function One with other partners and clients, and the fact that one of the guys mentioned that maybe we will be able to live forever. Do you remember?
Yeah. So I have ChatGPT Pro, I have Claude Max Plan, I have Grok Heavy, and I'll ask them like these questions, like when do you think, with everything you know, that we can solve cancer? Because cancer is the biggest thing that will prevent us from living forever. And all of them gave ranges from 25 to 50 years we'll have it solved, because it's so complicated to solve. So that means like I'm on the cusp of being able to live 50 years at this point. Probably not, but maybe with AI enhancements and other discoveries, like it's a non-zero chance that people at least 10 years younger than us will live forever. Probably us too. And by live forever, I just mean a really long time. But also, I don't really want to live forever, but still, it's interesting thought experiment.
Exactly. So first of all, not financial advice, not medical advice, but just for like the more creative people around us. But like it's a good example to show like how far AI can be taken, and it's also like very important to understand that we're like at the moment, at the era where AI agents are being developed, and they're getting stronger. And what more highlighted is that obviously company are restructuring a little bit the structure, let me put it that way, and they're hiring AI agents instead of actual people. So that's something that can be concerning, that some people see it as an opportunity, some people see it as an optimization of resources, but that's something important to have that in mind, so you know on which side of the story you want to be and how you want to ride the wave. And that's my personal take on this, on these things. Now, Morpheus, I wanted to ask a few questions regarding what you said. You said that recently you did the TGE, and some people are preparing their TGE, and they're liking this process. So maybe can you share a little bit more about your experience regarding that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, the number one decision that you need to make when you launch a token is like, are you just going to launch on the dexes, or are you going to launch on the sexes, the centralized exchanges and stuff? And you need to plan way ahead of that. You need to have long vesting schedules, and you got to have your tokenomics really tight. Your white paper tested and tried. And so yeah, it's interesting that these days you can launch on a dex and be fine. The only problem is less crypto savvy people have a harder time, buying and selling on dexes, but also just setting up properly your business structures. Like we have a Caymans Foundation that eventually we're giving much of the IP and everything, because we're trying to build something not marginally different than closed source systems, but completely different. You know what I mean? So setting all that stuff takes a lot of time and capital, and we had enough great people believe in us, including Nosana, by the way, to build. And so I would say it's always evolving, and once you launch a token, you're live 24/7. So it's a whole other beast.
Yeah. It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of your time, and I saw it obviously as a partner on the partner side. I saw how dedicated was the team. So congratulations on that one. And I hope that people took note of your advice, because that's very useful and that's very insightful advice. Then let's go back to a collaboration. Um, Obviously you have a team, you have resources that you have to allocate it to your core business, and on our side you have to work on the integration. So how did the integration go on your side, and how did you manage it, how did you organize it, what you have to face with the TGE? You have to, as you said, like you want to go on mainnet, and then all these type of aspects before you were as well, like closing the race. So you had so many aspects, and also you have your personal life. So how did you manage that thing? And yeah, and what are you non-negotiable during that time?
It's super fun, but also super nerve wracking. And my number one tip is, if you're running an infrastructure play like we are, testnet is so valuable. It's a valuable place to learn. It's a valuable place to build communities, and we offered a percentage of our tokens for airdrop during TGE. So during our 8 month testnet, which was broken up into like 4 phases, we had it ballooned to 385,000 users before the ending of testnet. So it was crazy, but it was obviously a great percentage of airdrop farmers. But I'm actually grateful to those airdrop farmers, because they stress test every inch of the platform, all the protocols, even our mailing list service that we pay like $70 a month with. It ballooned up to $7,000 just because there's too many people on the mailing list and stuff. So we had to switch providers here left and right for cheaper solutions. And by the time we launched TGE, we were so battle tested, because everyone was trying to move up on our leaderboards and different programs so that they can earn a percentage of that airdrop. And anytime there's value to be gained, you have value extractors and other people. But generally speaking, yeah, it was so good, because we were probably processing like 1.3 million images a day during the end of testnet, because everyone wants to do renders and stuff. And so we knew that we were ready to handle the biggest traffic when we launch our mainnet. And so like I said in the beginning, like we probably have about 85,000 registered users, and to go from 385,000 to like 85, that's considerable drop. But we wanted all the farmers to get their tokens and go if they're not interested in continue to build this with us. And so now we're slowly growing from there. So that's like my biggest advice. But also, you can't build in a vacuum. You need to partner with great projects like Nosana and figure out where you have synergies, and do hackathons and do other events. We did We rented out all of Over Easy Bar during Token 2049 Singapore, which is one of the biggest crypto events in the world. And Nosana was a great partner of ours there. We've all set up booths, and when you have that community and those friendships, it's really great. And I might also add that with Sogni, we've been focused on images for so long. We're about to roll out Sogni Video, and we also have this kind of NFT worker system where you have to buy this NFT and mint it. It's like $20. I think we raised it to $40, but it's sold out. So to be a NVIDIA worker on our network, we have enough right now. But when video rolls out, every second of video is like 15 to 30 images per second, and we expect we need to grow massively. We need more of GPU workers out there, and we're going to also lean on Nosana as well. And Nosana has, some people, they promise a bunch of GPUs, and you don't know how much you can trust them. Nosana's GPUs are super legit, and they are currently in our leaderboards. They're number one. They've been nonstop on our network, and so we look forward to the bigger things like the A600s. It's so interesting because we were originally just for RTX 4090s and like mid-tier GPUs, but then these H100s and these other beasts showed up on our network, and now we're going to put them to good use with video. We're so excited. The other thing I would want to say is that our SDK, because we have about 5 apps. We have Sogni Studio, which is like the decentralized Midjourney. We have Sogni Photo Booth, which allows anyone to do AI profile photos, get a new LinkedIn photo, or turn yourself into anime. We have even tattoo idea creators, sticker generators. And so you can kind of think of us like Apple. We build the cool experiences. We also build the ecosystem layer, and we also do the worker software, right? So it's like full stack. But our SDK is interesting because you can even target specific workers. There was a lot of people that are trying to game our system by targeting their workers, by running like non-popular models and earning their daily bonuses and routing it just to their model that they know no one else is hosting. So we made that open for anybody to target their own workers and stuff. But the cool thing about that is you can build a product on us and only target Nosana workers, or only target your own fleet of workers and stuff like that. We felt like if some people were doing that, everyone should have that ability. So we can even do just Nosana hackathons dedicated to Nosana GPUs.
Nice. Thanks, Mo, for the answer, and I really appreciate it because on our side and on the business side, you have to know, guys, that especially in the crypto industry, Web3, AI industry, as Mofi said, there is a lot of noise. Some people, they overpromise and they try to or they're like some even scammers and so on. So for us, like the foundation of a business is based on trust. So when we have a client or a partner, we try to deliver the best quality to really find a win-win solution, and we try to build it together. So we try to work together as a team, and to really hear what are the needs from Sogni and Nosana, to understand them and to see what will be the best for them. And that's how we try to build this friendship. And I think every relationship is basically based on trust. And also, to come back to what Movi said a little bit even before, for the internet bubble, or like the market which is done right now, basically only the strong should survive. So if you don't have a strong foundation, then you're out. And the goal is to survive all these cycles. So right now, the company, the project that will survive, it means something. It means that they have it means that they're doing something correctly. So that's why I think Morpheus is so confident that Sogni will go through all this downtime, all this cycle, because they have solid foundation, and that's why they set. And that's also why we wanted to really be next to them and to invest in them as well, in GPUs and in different ways.
Yeah, quality knows quality. And
Exactly.
we got each other's back.
Exactly. He knows when to take another one. So, okay, in terms of improvement, result, impact, so what are the improvement that you have observed and that are very important for you? Are they more related to stability? You mentioned that the compute costs decrease on your side. You mentioned the speed. You mentioned other, like, let's say, keywords. So what are the ones that you really, really, really prioritize? Because there are like so many, I would say, aspects that you can, that you can focus on, and there is so much noise. So what are, I would say, the top three features, improvement that you are looking for?
Yeah, so our goal was always to be the most free as in freedom, where we're not, training your data. There's so much analytics we don't have because we run so little analytics. But our goal is for, to be one of the cheapest inference providers. Like even a person that's really good at coding and stuff and open source, to download 100 models, those that could be terabytes of data. And with Sogni, you can even do a prompt against 3 or 4 models at the same time, so you can even see the differences of models. People love that, and the power of Sogni is it's not just the speed of one render, but it's about parallelization. Because when you want to create, you want to ideate, you want to do that 16 at a time, 32 at a time. We even allow 512 at once, which is unheard of with the Midjourneys and ChatGPT dollies. They've seemed to all kind of collude in giving you one images in 50 seconds or 4 images. You know what I mean? And in
Yeah.
that time span, you're doing 16, 16, 16, clicking the ones you like and doing more renders of that. So time is money. And I think the other thing is for the longest time, we've avoided monthly fees because we want to be like, like gas. Like you don't have a monthly fee for your gas station. You just go and you fill your tank. You pay for what you use, and we want to be that service and stuff. So we learn, and my thinking has evolved there because as we release Sogni Video, we're gonna have a lot more increased storage costs and other stuff. So the monthly fees do help pay for that. So definitely my thinking and it has evolved as we build this and we start dealing with real budgets and different stuff like that. But I still think that you know Sogni SuperNet, and especially through our partners like Nosana, will provide a the cheapest, best place to do AI renders. And we're adding support for both video, as I mentioned, and large language models. And it's really cool because I was doing some hackathons at NTU, which is the top, I think, 8 college engineering school in the world here in Singapore. And RIT, I was just there as well doing a workshop. And the first thing these students do is they'll use Gemini or Google or ChatGPT for the LLM, and then they'll use us for the image gen. And I said, man, why don't we just start including some high level
Yeah.
LLMs, not 100 of them, but just a couple of options. So then one username and password, one API key, you get access to everything soup to nuts in one place. And instead of signing up for a lot of setting up your own GPUs, some cloud place or whatever, just sign up, username and password, it's API key. You can do it all.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I like that because you mentioned that you want to have the lower cost, but you don't want to trade off for the quality or the speed and everything like that. So you really try to maximize all these aspects, which is very nice. And the fact that you're on the trenches is also good because then you understand like the needs and what people and how people are using your solution, and you know the adjustment that you have to make. Um, so you mentioned that you've been to this hackathon, that you've been to this, and I was there with you to the function one, the AI event, and that you've been to Token 2049. Just quick question from your perspective as well. What are the difference between a Web3 AI and a hackathon, and how do you tackle it? So what is your vision when you plan to attend these events, and also what are your favorite one? Basically, what are the most productive one?
Well, the Token Tour for 9, they got one in Dubai now too.
Yeah.
I would classify those among the best. But and those you get such a range of people, speculators or people interested in new tech, people interested in decentralization. So anytime we run a booth at one of those events and someone comes to the table, I have to understand, what are you into? Are you an artist or creative? Are you a builder interested in the SDK? You just want to know about the tech, to speculate? Do you have some GPUs? Are you looking to earn passive income? So it's really interesting. And because we have those 4 audience types, it's very difficult. And obviously for our products, it's all about creativity for people who want to become design, art, rock stars. I envision in the future that you can be a movie director and you made a whole movie or a short film with like $400 worth of credits on a platform like ours, and that used to cost like $100,000, $500,000 for a small indie film. You know what I mean? With a whole
Mm.
crew. You know what I mean? So a lot of people talk about like art, AI art has no soul, or they're gonna take our jobs. But I really feel that for artists and creatives, it's a leveling playing field. Now you can do so much of what only the rich and powerful can do. You know, and so
Yeah,
I can have conversations with all kinds of different people at the booth, but it really depends on what they're into. But for Function One in Dubai, it was super fascinating because the number one question I got is, "This is so rad. How can I use this to make money?" And there's so many ways that you can. And
that's Dubai too.
yeah, yeah, and I loved it because they're just straightforward. I see that you have a product that does so many things. How can I use this to make money? How can I white label that? Can I white label your Sogni photo booth? And I said all the code is on GitHub. You literally can white label it, and you're paying us pennies per render, half a penny per render. You're charging your customers dollars. Everyone is happy. Everyone wins except for maybe like Google and Amazon Cloud. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay. That's a very good take. It's I remember like I saw you guys. You were like there was not, and there are like so many people at your booth, and you ran out of crypto merch and and like just like the picture, the card, and everything like that. So I guess it was a huge success for you, and I'm happy about that. So you mentioned a lot Sogni videos. So I did it on purpose, not jump on it straight away on it. And I think for the people that are like in this call, they would like to know a little bit more about that and about the timeline and why you brought it live, or you plan to bring it live very soon.
So yeah, I mean, we should be releasing the a beta, not the beta, of Sogni Video in probably 1 to 2 weeks, and it's gonna be in the beginning basic, just image to video with prompting. But we have already, the plan to release uh, video to video, text to video, image to video, and even first frame, last frame, where you can have two different images and do video against them both. And so man, I've been playing around with Sora and other stuff, and it's so much fun, but it's very gimmicky. And I think
Okay.
pro level tools, you have something, a vision in your mind, and you really need to get that perfect image. So with us, 16 images at a time, get to that perfect scene. Think about the character, think about the emotion, the action, what's happening, and we're gonna add more LLMs to even help you design the best image. Then we start allowing you to get into, you know, video clips that you can string up and make videos for. I think it's a natural evolution, but you know 2 years ago when we first started working with this, the
Mhm.
videos, you can tell it was AI. It's like that spaghetti video. Um, it just like you can see how much it's evolved, but it was still not ready yet. You know what I mean?
Mm.
At this point in time, we are like 95% ready. I think Sogni like um, all the different various open source video models are so good, and there and by the way, I actually love the old school videos that were wild and crazy, and like you can tell it was just like crazy AI because it was hallucinating, and I love
It's
those.
raw.
We're gonna miss those classic videos
Yeah,
when
true.
it gets super legit, but yeah, we weren't like, I don't think AI video, especially open source video, was quite ready until like this year. Like this year is getting good, and then when Google Banana came out, like the Gemini one,
Hmm.
everyone was just like, everybody's cooked. Like all the AI projects are cooked. You can't beat this. And sure enough, a new open source model came out that's better than Google Banana, like last week. And so multiple actually. But now Google Banana 2 just came out, which beat everybody. But you can see how it's this cat and mouse game where we don't have to worry that we're cooked because open source models are constantly being released. And also, again, you don't need that 10x Einstein model. The 3x Einstein model literally got the job done, and you didn't
Yeah,
have to pay $60 a month for it. It serves its purpose.
true.
Yeah,
True, true, true.
I have a little comment on that actually, because you mentioned the spaghetti video. I think it was the Will Smith spaghetti video where he eats spaghetti
Yeah.
and then eventually he just eats his hand basically. And then you look at it like every 6 months, the iterations of that same exact prompt, and it got to the point where you can still see that it's AI. And I used to pride myself in the ability of recognizing AI. You know, when you go to social media and with some older folk, especially, you can see some like blatant AI, and they're like, "Oh, this is real! I can't believe this is happening." But now it got to the point in the last couple of weeks, especially, where there's been a lot of images and videos that you look at them and you really are not sure. You can't really tell anything apart. And now, like, it's not the matter of months; it's the matter of like weeks before you're basically unable to recognize reality from anything else. And I wanted to ask you, because as a person who specializes in this type of field, are you still able to differentiate AI and reality, or is it becoming too hard for you as well?
We
And to
support.
jump on
Yeah.
Dennis' comments, that's really true because even let's say the music, some music in the shows or whatever, sometimes they're like AI generated, and now they cannot even be like on Spotify or on Apple Music and everything like that. They got deleted. So how do you recognize it more? And also, what would be the IP for like someone that make that music or that image through AI tool like yours, for instance?
Yeah, so we have support for over 100 different open source models, and it got to the point where I not only can tell it's AI, but I can tell which model you use because some of our models are really flashy and nice, but the contrast is a little bit high. But even like Flux, which is this incredible model that came out that is honestly in many ways 80% like better than 80% of our other models, but every model's been trained on different data and has different personality, so I still think there's value there. But the work that Flux was doing was just kind of like overly contrasty and too like it's like a high budget action movie, like the same style. But then people went and they created Flux Crea and Flux Chroma. So they trained a new set of data and images on top of that old infrastructure, and those like what Flux Crea can do, it looks like cover of like Vogue magazine or something, or Perfume, or like the work is just so good and creative that I can't really tell it's AI, but I can if you told me you did it in Sogni, I can probably tell you which model you did it in. But if I just saw it on a street somewhere or on someone's shirt, I wouldn't even know it's AI. So yeah, we are getting to that point.
We are getting cooked. Like on Instagram, you won't be able to see what's real. You will see people with like private jets, uh, all the fantasies, and we cannot know anymore if it is real or not. And AI is becoming good, maybe even too good for certain people. Then I have a quick question regarding that aspect as well. Just in general, we you back I mean we didn't ask you about your background, but you live in the US, as you mentioned briefly, and now you're living in Singapore, and you travel a lot for the conferences, and you've seen Europe, the Middle East, all these places. So what are the big difference for you in terms of Web3 and AI, and why you choose to build it in Singapore and not, for instance, in the Bay Area?
Great question. And so I would say, yeah, I've traveled a lot. I grew up in the middle of America, and I went to school in New York and lived in New York City for 5 years, San Francisco for 8, and I've been in Singapore for 6 plus years now. And I always say, just go where you're treated the best. And for me, when I came to Singapore, I love being in the U.S. I love being American, but Singapore is so clean, and everyone is busy working heads down. It kind of reminds me of San Francisco, because definitely San Francisco is a lot more tech and more entrepreneurial. Here, people are looking to work with big companies and different stuff like that. It's not as much startup scene, but I just enjoy it here. I love Asian food. I love that I can fly 1 hour to Bali, 2 3 hours to Bangkok, even Dubai. It's only what 7 or 8 hours, and
Yeah.
so I love being on this side of the world. And Singapore loves Americans, loves tech workers, love people who have like track records, and so they've honestly been super good to me just living here. And on the other side of the spectrum, I would love to like actually live in Bali, or or in Thailand or someplace and like have adventures and stuff. But I feel like I have so much more to build and so much more like to do. Maybe one day I'll retire in those places, but in Singapore, when I look left and right and everyone's heads down working, it makes me inspired to keep working too, you know. And I think every 100 years, the torch gets passed in terms of like it was the Dutch and the British and then the U.S. and like I don't know what's happening now, but obviously there's a change happening with like just the U.S. dominance of the world, and I don't see where the torch gets passed to now. But I just think people live where they want to do and they can work online and you know so I'm excited for what the future holds.
So you're bullish.
Yeah, yeah, I am. But I'm bullish for everyone, not just for one particular place or one particular country. Singapore might not be for some people, but for me, I love it. It's clean, it's safe, you know, great food. Even though it's technically like one of the most expensive places in the world, like I can get 350 chicken rice down the street. You know what I mean? It's affordable. Every place is affordable. Same thing when they say about Dubai or New York City. Common man needs to be able to also live and work there, and for most places, you can get by just fine. But it's I do think people shouldn't stick around to where they're born. Like I grew up in Radcliffe, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, and a lot of my friends still there, and that's fine for them. But you know, I wanted to go where the action is. Like I moved to San Francisco, worked at a ton of startups. That enabled me to work at the Gates Foundation, learn about blockchains and AI, and then I moved into the blockchain space. And you know, you got to go where the action is, I think.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for the answer. That's very inspiring and that's very beautiful. Actually, Dennis, I think that's a good. I mean, I already know you already told me, but like for people in Croatia, how is Croatia for crypto and AI? Maybe Mofis is also interested.
Well, if I was to talk about Croatia and Web3, I would have to include the whole Balkan region because we kind of stick together against the world. For example, I'm sure you heard about the super teams all around the world.
Yeah.
You know, there's super team Germany, super team UK, super team Canada, but there's no super team Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia. It's super team Balkan, right? Because we stick together. So if you include Croatia, you assume the Balkans as a whole, and I think we are very rapidly evolving in that area. The Balkans are generally cheap, you know, for living standards, especially as a foreigner if you come to the Balkans. But there is a lot of room for development. A lot of young, educated developers and builders, and generally people who want to break into the world of Web3 because it gives them the opportunity to work for some amazing companies from the comfort of their own home in the Balkans. This is basically what I'm doing. I enjoy working for Web3 companies because they allow me to sit in my home in Croatia instead of moving, you know, to some countries perhaps where I'm not ready to go towards. But it's rapidly evolving. We do have conferences, especially in Serbia and in Croatia. There you can find a lot of interesting conferences in Split and Belgrade. Um, so it's a rapidly evolving industry like anywhere else in the world, but the Balkans are definitely something to keep an eye out if you're looking for how would I say, a good source of young and hungry developers because people are always eager to work for someone else, you know, from home because we find this very interesting. So there is something to talk about the Balkans, but you should definitely visit either way because we do have some nice beaches in Croatia. And I do know you like good food, and we do have good food. So there you go.
One of my friends is a paraglider, and he's shown me some amazing photos from around Croatia.
Yeah. Yeah, you could get a lot of good stuff. We got more than 1,000 islands basically. So for a vacation, you know, it's a great place to look for something. I'm sure you'll find it.
And
Beautiful.
Bourgeois, you just moved to Dubai. Can you tell me how's Dubai compared to say like Amsterdam and why you moved?
Good question. Good question. So, as you said, I just moved here, so I would say I won't jump to quick conclusions. But my first impression is, as you said, it's a bit a mix of both. So, what I really like here is the environment. Everything is set up to treat you well and to make sure that you can focus on whatever your purpose is, especially if it is on the professional side. So they make sure that as you said, like people around you, they heads on and they focus and everything goes super fast. So it motivates you as well to pick up the rhythm and to be you know, like to be on top of your game as well, to work, to take care of your body, so go to the gym, to eat properly, all these type of things. The time zone is great. I think we have 4 or 5 hours difference, 4 I think between you and I, Mo. I have
Yep.
maybe 3 hours with Dennis different. And then so it's really so far it looks like a cheat code, you know. It's super easy to get here. At least for me, it was easy to go to the admin process. I'm still in the middle of it, but almost done with everything. To have your visa, your Emirate ID, and there are like many funders here. So far it's great for networking, to connect with people, to understand as well what are the next trends, to understand as well um, where the capital is deployed as well, because Dubai, I mean, let's say the UAE, Abu Dhabi, and so on, there is a lot of capital that is deployed. And as you also mentioned it during function one, people are they are so motivated to make money here, so they will try to see how they can leverage a solution, and in order to make the business profitable, and in order to make themselves successful as well. So far so good. So far so good. And then obviously the weather is a cheat code, and when you want to entertain yourself and do other stuff, there are plenty of stuff to do. So yeah, so far I'm pretty happy about my choice.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice, and I think, man, the I've been in Dubai for a couple of times in the last 2 years, but
Hmm.
before that, I didn't come in 10 years. And 10 years ago, I went during Ramadan and everything was closed, and honestly, I didn't have a great time. But it is so different now, and it's so welcoming, and it's so easy to live. And the number the Dubai is an AI ready country, and it is ready to invest in AI, ready to showcase AI. And so, if you
Exactly.
are starting an AI startup in Web 2 or Web 3, Dubai is not a bad place to go and raise capital or live and make connections for sure.
Exactly. And in that sense, that's why I took that bet, and I'm pretty bullish Dubai as well. And also,
That's right.
to be honest, to complete a little bit my answer is, we don't necessarily realize, but we can have a lot of concise ideas about Dubai or Singapore or Croatia and so on. But it's very important to talk to people that are already there, or that have done the experience before and so on, because I had, for instance, in my some preconceived ideas, and what I realized, there is a Dubai for everything. It really depends on what are your priorities and what you want to make it, and in that sense, the focus for me is AI, Web 3, and so on. So here, really, it's really a good place to accelerate, basically, because it's AI Web 3 ready, it's Web 3 ready, and everyone around here is bullish and want to, go to the moon or go to the next level. And there are also more talent than I expected.
Yeah, and it just kind of shows that Nosana is everywhere,
Exactly,
distributed.
exactly. So we decentralize, and yeah, and that's the beautiful thing of the technology right now. It's like the team can be at different places. We have people in the US, people in Europe, people in Asia, people in the UAE. So we can leverage all these different places, all these different regulations, all the different opportunities, and so on. So that's great on this aspect.
Well,
Okay,
we
okay.
look forward to building more great things with Nosana. Nosana's got the GPUs, and like I said, check out Nosana's GitHub. You'll learn something every time I read it. I also learn something about the ways to do stuff, and it's on Solana. It's really fast, and they're able to do stuff at a level that we batch our transactions and operate a little bit differently on different chain, but definitely a lot of stuff to read on that GitHub.
Yes, exactly. That's something we are very proud of, to be honest. I mean, I like to say that Dennis is community face, I'm more client face, partner face, and so on. But something that I'm very confident about, and that's why I'm confident to go out there, is our team is very technical. We have we have a lot of tech wizards behind, and they're working hard. It's a fast forward, I would say, environment. Everything goes so fast, but we want to make sure that what we provide is quality, and and they're also big open source advocates, and these guys are ready to share the knowledge here and there. So that's why we make sure that the GitHub and all the documentation online as well has a lot of quality and so on. So if you have any question, you can always as well reach us. But
Mhm.
a lot of this knowledge inside out there, please use them. It is there for that. Make sure that you leverage it. And if you need anything in terms of GPU compute, not only for AI but also for other use cases, you can always contact us. I think Morpheus looks pretty happy, so we can make you happy as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, we still have like 3 minutes for this, but I think like you guys touch a lot of the point, and you share a lot of good insight with the community from the collaboration we had, but also from your personal experience from the event and so on. Morphis, maybe for the last minute, what would you like to share with your community, our community, or whoever building out there?
Yeah, I would just say, with the four types of audiences that we're trying to help, if you're an artist or creative, or even a business owner that wants to do your own design
Mm-hmm.
and art, check out Sogni. If you have a MacBook or an iPhone, we're in the App Store. Just look up Sogni. We also have Sogni Web, which is app.sogni.ai. That's for Android, Windows, and everything. We are going to release an Android app probably by the end of the year. But if you just want to have fun, photobooth.sogni.ai, you can get like, I don't know, 30, 40 free renders a day. After that, you top up. And then builders, Sogni SDK, you can literally build anything you imagine. Side-scrolling games with like graphics that are, unique every single time. And if you need GPUs, Nosana's gotcha.
Appreciate. Thank you more for your time. It was a good one. Always a pleasure to discuss with you. And I see you very soon. I know I will see you very soon.
Yeah.
And Dennis, thank you for the technical support, but also for your input and so on. It was the first live session with these two gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. It's we don't hide. We here out there, ready to support you guys. So ciao, ciao, and have a good
Yep.
one.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care,
It was a
everyone.
pleasure.
Yep.